همیشه مشغول آواز خوندن بود. نیکا شاید 1 سال قبل از جنبش مهسا راجع به این حکومت و این ظلمی که داره به ما میشه و این بی‌عدالتی ها خیلی فکر میکرد به این جریانات. خیلی خیلی جسور و نترس. همیشه میترسیدم که نکنه اتفاقی براش بیفته.
Her mother is right to be afraid. Nika doesn't know it yet, but she's being hunted. We've been handed what is, on the face of it, a classified IRGC report that's never been published before. Those who supplied it to us are risking their lives, so we've reproduced it for their protection. It's 6 pages of a much larger case file of investigations into protesters during 2022. These pages summarize a 5-hour classified hearing on Nika's case. It's marked highly confidential and states it's based on extensive talks with IRGC commanders and interviews with their teams that policed the protest. With many fake Iranian documents in circulation, it's extremely difficult to authenticate leaks. We've spent months cross-checking it with multiple sources. We can't confirm every detail, but overall, it checks out. This is what it says. It begins by stating several IRGC teams are undercover at the protest. One of these teams is Team 12, and one of its members, Behruz Sadeghi, has infiltrated the crowd, with Nika in his sights. The team leader is stationed in an unmarked vehicle nearby, waiting for Behruz's call. At 7:30 p.m., Behruz calls his team to arrest her. But she slips away. As darkness falls, the violence intensifies. People are injured and arrests made. Nika's on the run, trying to reach her friends. She's next spotted almost an hour later, evading her hunters. They wouldn't lose her a second time. Now they have her. It's important to understand where everyone is in Team 12's vehicle. It's an unmarked freezer truck. The report says the unit's leader, Murteza Jalil, sits up front next to the driver. Behruz and the team's other 2 members, Arash Kalhor and Sarek Monjazi, have Nika's hands tied up in the rear compartment. Murteza calls his HQ, IRGC Tactical Camp 114, seeking orders on where to take her. He's told to drop her at a nearby base. But when they arrive, the base commander has a problem. He has so many detainees, his guards are overwhelmed. With tensions in the city boiling over, Murteza contacts HQ again and is given a new destination. En route, he hears crashing in the back of the truck. The report includes the direct testimony of Team 12, who tell us what happens next. We're using actors to speak their words. A warning, they describe a killing.
It was completely dark. We could only see each other with the light of our phones. Arash gagged her mouth with his socks, but she started struggling. Then Sadek laid her on the chest freezer and sat on her. The situation calmed. I don't know what's happened, but after a few minutes, she started swearing. I couldn't see anything. I could only hear fighting and bashing.
When she started swearing and struggling again, I turned on my phone light and saw Sadek was sitting on her with his hands in her pants.
I never put my hand in her pants, but I can't deny that when I was sitting on her, I got aroused and touched her buttocks. Her hands were tied behind her back, but she suddenly jolted her body, so I fell. She kicked at my face, so I had to defend myself.
I could hear the sound of the baton hitting her and the freezer. I started to kick and punch, but really didn't know if I was hitting our guys or her.
From the truck's cabin, Morteza hears the commotion and orders the driver to pull over.
When I saw her, I was only thinking about how to transfer her. And didn't ask them any questions except, is she breathing? I think it was Behruz who answered, no, she's dead.
Now what? With the killing on his hands, Morteza calls Tactical Camp 114 for a third time. This time, he speaks to a more senior officer, codenamed Naeem 16, the only officer this report doesn't identify by name.
We already had death in our stations, and I didn't want the number to rise to 20. Bringing her to the camp wouldn't solve any problems. I just asked, are you sure she's dead? Morteza Jalil confirmed she was. So in my opinion, the best thing to do was dump her on the street.
I had a light, and with my own vest, I cleaned the blood from her face and head, which were not in a good condition. I told the driver to find a quiet street. Around Taimuri, under the Yadegar Imam Highway, we dumped the body.
September the 20th. But Nika's mother says it's not her.
میتونم از یک شخصی که شبیه نیکا خیلی زیاده. ولی که به هیچ عنوان تایید نیست.
تهدیدهایی از من کردن که من بیام اعتراف کنم و فیلم بگیرن و پخش کنن و بگن که حالا این یا چه میدونم خودکشی بوده یا میخوان من رو مجبور به این کار کنن.
Now we've heard the story this report tells, there's another question to answer. How much can we trust it? We've shown it to a handful of experts who all say it looks genuine. But one notices a few potential inconsistencies which we need to acknowledge. For one, the job title of a senior police officer is out of date. Second, the Naja police force quoted was known as Faraja at the time. Because of these inconsistencies, we need to go further. We asked a former Iranian intelligence officer who's seen hundreds of documents like this to check it. He asks us to hide his identity. He has no idea who gave it to us. And after seeing it, he agreed to test the report's ID number with his own sources, who have also had to hide. He's speaking to someone inside the IRGC to check if the case file really exists, and if so, what it's about.
البته این گزارش یک خلاصه کوچولو از اون گزارش 322 صفحه‌ای هست. شماره گزارش و اون تایتلی که تحقیقات قضایی در مورد اغتشاشگران سال 1401 به تایید رسیده. اون شخصی که اون طرف تلفن هست موظف درستش رو بگه، به خاطری که نمیدونه چه شخصی تلفن بهش کرده، اون کد رو میشناسه.
After reading the report, he wants to find out who the unnamed officer, Naeem 16, is. So he makes another call. He doesn't let us record this one.
برای این کار من تماس گرفتم با یک کسی در سیستم نظامی ایران که بتونه برای ما تایید بکنه که این کد نعیم 16 که کد 20 بوده آیا وجود خارجی داره یا نه. نعیم 16 هست سربار محمد زمانی که الان در تهران داره کار میکنه.
The document lists the attendees at the hearing. We look at it again.
ولی تو این گزارش وقتی نگاه میکنیم اینجا اسم ازش برده شده، محمد زمانی اون زمان صدفان یکم بوده که در اطلاعات سازمان بسیج مستضعفین کار میکرده که هنوزم شغلش همینه، فقط یه رتبه رفته بالاتر و الان هم ایشون سربان محمد زمانی هست.
While we can't independently verify if Mohammed Zamani is Naeem 16, our sources' new information does offer further corroboration that the report is genuine.
Is there any way that document could be a fake?
No, it's nothing. It's original and we accept that. It's not fake.
If the confidential report is genuine, we now understand how Nika was killed and who did it. So what happened to them? The document provides some answers. As we know, attendance at the classified hearing was recorded. All of Team 12 were there, and to the right of their names, the group they belong to. Hezbollah. Hezbollah refers to the Iranian group that shares the same name as the Lebanese political organization. Hezbollah is a paramilitary group whose members are used in IRGC operations to uphold the rule of Ayatollah Khamenei, and as such are under his protection. This may go some way to explain the hearing's verdict. It concluded that sexual assault caused the fight in the rear compartment, and that strikes from Team 12 caused the death of Nika Shaakrami. But as members of Hezbollah, outside the jurisdiction of the IRGC, they were not punished. But what about the men who tried to cover it up? Naeem, 16, the officer who told Team 12 to dump Nika's body, was given a written reprimand. But he wasn't the senior officer at this meeting. Alongside him were commanders from Tehran's police, the IRGC, and its intelligence organization, ranking as high up as second in command. But as far as we know, none of these men faced any consequences for their part in the cover-up. While Iran's government claimed her death was suicide unrelated to the protest, our evidence leads us to a very different conclusion. Not a suicide, but a killing. Not by falling from a building, but by the weapons of Team 12. Not because she had nothing to do with the protest, but because this 16-year-old girl dared to stand for what she believed in. We put these allegations to the IRGC and the government of Iran. They did not respond. Throughout the Women Life Freedom movement, more than 500 of those who spoke out were killed. These are just the reported numbers.
خب از یه طرف خب من مادرم و بی نهایت نیکا رو دوست داشتم و که مثلا ما کشتیم یا اینکه بخوام قاتل رو معرفی کنن، نمیدونم از روی یه ساختمونی افتاده و همچین چیزی رو من قبول نمی کنم. خود جمهوری اسلامی بوده، سپاه بوده که نیکا رو کشته.
While we can never be certain the report is genuine, after months of investigation, the evidence we've found indicates this document does record Nika's last moments. Now she joins the likes of Mahsa Amini and the countless other young women who've been killed for speaking out. But the name Nika Shakarami will be remembered by the people of Iran.